Hi Internet friends, it's Tim Schrock from Design Build Solutions coming to you today with what I might call a bonus tip, but since I didn't get to Tech Tip Tuesday this week, might be your Tech Tip Tuesday. Had some personal issues, vehicles going on this week, and didn't get around to it. So the question online came up on one of the user groups on how to do this cabinet door, and it brings out a couple of unique scenarios with this door. To me, I'm gonna assume this here is 3/4 of an inch. It looks like this is probably 1/4 of an inch, and it looks like this face here is not in plane with this face. I would say this internal panel probably 1/4 inch. I would imagine it. I wish I could. I wish I had the product in my hand so I could do some measurement. But I'm gonna go with this. That we've got 3 sections here really. This frame is 3/4 of an inch. This molding is 1/4 of an inch, and this panel here, I'm going to guess, is 1/4 of an inch thick, and it's just it's inset into the red frame. I'm going to guess that this molding is 3/4 of an inch, and we're going to create this door ready to be a cabinet door. So let's get started. Might take us a while, but let's do this today. To start off with, I'm going to just draw a wall, and no, actually I'm gonna just do this like so. I'm gonna just on the flat. We're going to go to this, and I'm going to draw a door, and let's make this 24 inches wide and 30 inches tall. And this will be the main panel. Not panel, the main frame. I'm going to do a molding polyline, and we're going to select a square polyline or rectangular polyline. I have one that I call 1x8 trim, but since I'm in version Chief Architect Premiere X14, and this actually has happened a couple of versions back. I believe, I know 12 had it. I don't remember exactly. I can make this even though it comes as a rectangle, I can turn it into a square, 3/4 by 3/4, and I'm going to extrude inside that polyline. So there's my frame. I'm going to draw that profile of the molding, and I'm going to say 3/4 by 3/4, and we're going to break this square and just bevel it like so. And maybe it's not quite so much beveled. So let's do it. Let's do a section. This is my 3/4 frame. I'm going to guess that this is 1/4 inch up, and my panel is 1/4 inch tall. So that's centered here. This I want 1/4, but this molding is actually going to go over -1/4, like so. So I now know this is my cut section. If I were to cut that door, I've got my frame that does this. I've got my molding is going to actually, and then this is my panel. So this is going to come like so. Okay. So the quick and dirty way is I could just make my molding do like that, but then if I take a section of the cabinet door, it wouldn't look quite right. So we can really make that molding wrap around the frame and the panel like that. Okay, so now I've got my molding in place, and I'm going to add this to my library. Alright, so in this molding polyline, I can open this up. I could do it that I made a separate molding polyline. Why don't we do that? Because then it just works. I'm going to do concentric. So I've got my toolbar right here. You can go to Edit Preferences. I think if you're on a Mac, it's File Preferences, and go to Edit Behaviors here. We want to choose concentric, and I want to jump 1/2 inch, because remember, this is 1/2 inch inside here. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy, and while I'm in concentric mode, I'm just going to drag that corner over, and that all the way around, that's 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to go back to my preferences and go back to change the jump at 0 and go to default type. Alright, so this I want to be 1/4 inch up, and I want to change that molding. We're going to replace that molding with the new molding we just created there. Now let's take a section of this and make sure I've got this correct. I need to be more than 1/4 apparently, so let's do that. I'm going to just double click. So I've got my frame here, and this is my frame, and then the molding is this one here. So I'm just going to double click on that molding, and it's actually 1/2 inch up, and there we go. When I say that, I always think of my big fat Greek wedding. And so there you go. We're all Greek, and so there you go. All right, I'm going to draw a panel. So I'm going to draw a polyline, the shape of that internal that molding that we just created, the profile molding, and I'm going to convert this to a slab. And that's only going to be 1/4 inch thick. Absolute elevation at the top is 1/2, I believe. Let's take our section and make sure I've got everything correct. Notice this section is exactly the same section that I drew right here. We'll copy this profile, the CAD objects. There you go. That's the exact section I want. Okay? Excellent. We can close that. We don't have to save it. Now, when working with library objects, if you want all one texture, make these objects all one texture. If you want to control the textures, then make these objects individual textures. So my frame could be one texture, my molding profile could be another texture, and my panel could be a third texture. And that way I have control of the materials in the library object. So it doesn't matter what the texture is, it can be completely random and goofy, just as long as they're different. So I'm going to do materials, colors, and generic colors, and we'll say yellow, white, yellow, and concrete. Okay. I'm going to select all of these objects, and we are going to, because they're different objects, I cannot just add them to the library as an object, so I have to do my picture with my camera, whether it's an overview or a camera view, doesn't matter. I'm going to go to Tools, Symbol, Convert to Symbol. And I'm going to change this to a cabinet door drawer. And so we're going to call it cabinet door with, let's do panel door with molding profile. And I'm going to add to the library, and then I'm going to show the advanced options. This is important in a couple of ways. Now, remember, this whole assembly is 1 inch thick. Chief Architect by default makes cabinet doors 3/4 of an inch thick. So for this to remain at 1 inch thick, we have to take care of that in a couple ways. Let's first of all rotate this so that we have, not in the Z, alright, so my Y position needs to be -30, nope, +30. We might have to play with the orientation. That might be fine. Alrighty. 2D block. That's fine. Materials. Here's where it's important. So color bone is the frame. And I'm going to click once and click again. It's not a double click, because then you select the material. Just going to click, select it, and then click again, and I can change that. Frame. I'm going to change that to name it and what it is. Molding profile. Click, and click again. Panel. Now I can select the material, and this is the default material that I want to add to it. I want it to drop in directly from the library. So let's find a nice wood material, and we'll say maple, and we'll call it maple blonde. We'll do maple blonde. Okay. I can just go to Plan Materials, tab, and hit M for maple, and there's maple blonde. Alright, sizing. This is important as well. I'm going to stretch from, this is 24 wide, so -10 to 10. And then I'm going to, not height, depth, let's say 2 to 28. So there's our stretch planes. That means the profile is not going to warp and stretch its proportion as you resize the door. It's just gonna stretch within these planes, and everything outside the plane will remain correct. Now, lastly, we need to do I think this is it right here. 3/4. We need to change my Z to 3/4. So you'll notice, I don't know if you can see this kind of plane right here, that we're defining the box. We're telling the library item that it's really 3/4 of an inch thick, even though it's modeled at 1 inch thick. And that way, when Chief puts the 3/4 inch constriction of a door into this, it won't shrink that 1 inch all into a 3/4 inch thick item. Okay, so there's our door. Let's see how this works on our, let's see if it works. We might have to orient differently here. Let's see. I'm going to click on that. Whoa, what in the world? Let's take a section of this and see what happened. Yeah, we got to reorient that. Okay. So I'm going to right click and open this symbol, and about the X, let's go 90. There we go. And this is 0. Now let's paste this on here again. There you go. Yep. It's got to be oriented face up. So the face of it, yeah. Anyway, before we finish this up, I did want to just double check and make sure our profile is correct from what we drew. So I took a section of this cabinet, and I noticed this is not. This frame isn't quite that 3/4 of an inch thick when I drag this profile over the section. So something's not quite right. So I'm going to go back to the cabinet panel door and open the symbol. And I noticed that I had, this one I've already changed, but I had my depth planes here, like so. And because back when I rotated this is what happened there. So I want to turn off my stretch planes here and actually have my Z stretch planes there. Now when I replace this door, my stretch planes are correct and my profile is accurate. So I should point out a couple of things before we go, that because of the stretch planes, when I resize this cabinet and the doors resize, the profile stays accurate. I can even delete this drawer and the height profile stays accurate. Remember, we also set up 3 unique, now that's interesting, I haven't noticed that. The door handle isn't quite right. It looks like it's floating. Let's do this. Yeah, it's floating out at the full 1-inch thickness of the door itself. I'd have to think on how that's done. Anyway, yeah, that's a. Can we manage that with hardware? Door handle? No, we can't adjust that. Well, that's a bummer. I did want to show you the materials, so I could do you know, a black molding. I could do a brown trim and a purple panel. We could also undo, and let's go to a gray, and let's put the roller on and turn on the whole object. So everything that is this maple blonde in this object is going to get mixed with this color neutral gray. So there's a quick way to do that whole door like so. I will export this as a unique object, library object, and share it with y'all. Look in the comments. I'll try to put the link to where you can get this downloaded. Hope this has been useful and helpful for you. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Have a great week.